night. You're made.
I'm Tim Owens, the longtime producer of jazz at National Public Radio and creator of NPR's Peabody Award-winning Jazz Profiles, a radio documentary series on the people, places, and things in jazz. The Jazz Profiles shows, nearly 200 of them, are part of the Tim Owens Jazz and Broadcast Collection at the University of North Texas Music Library. In a partnership with the 32 Bar Blues Foundation, we picked a handful of noteworthy shows to share with you. With my gratitude to the many producers who helped make the series possible, and my special thanks to the series host Nancy Wilson, we hope you'll enjoy this presentation of Jazz Profiles.
Oh, thank you very much. La, 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 la. Little low, little low. La, 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 la.
She's an instrument. Her voice is an instrument, and the way she sings, she does it so naturally and so fluidly and so freely that it would be hard for somebody to really try to do what she does.
She's not just a singer, not to take anything away from being a great singer, but she's a musician, and that's what draws you into a real positive experience of working with her, is that she's involved in the music, and that comes across.
I really love what I do. I have fun because it changes all the time. And I love being able to do that, keeping it different all the time.
For nearly 50 years, vocalist Betty Carter has chosen the road less traveled. She's a trailblazing risk-taker, pushing jazz singing to new heights, inspiring generations of fans and musicians along the way. I'm Nancy Wilson. On this edition of Jazz Profiles, we'll pay tribute to a captivating singer and songwriter and a dedicated bandleader and mentor, Betty Carter. Feed the Fire, the title tune of an album Betty Carter recorded live with bassist Dave Holland, drummer Jack DeJohnette, and pianist Jerry Allen.
There's some people that really have no fear and they just get out there and they make the jump, you know? That's that kind of fearlessness that I mean with, really great musicians have that. And she has that. And it was always exciting because of that every night.
Betty was always walking across the stage and doing lots of movement, most of which directly related to what was going on musically, especially with the groove. I used to like to watch her tap the back of her heel when she got into a really deep groove.
Drummer Louis Nash.
This music was constantly growing and changing and shifting gears and getting softer and louder and exciting, and 1 minute you're about to jump out of your seat dancing, and the next minute tears are about to flow out of your eyes, that kind of thing.
You in my high-starch collar and my high-top shoes, hair held high up on my head. I want to lose a jolly hour on a trolley. You lost my heart instead in his light brown derby and his bright green tie. He was quite the handsomest man. Started again, I counted to 10. Started again. Clang, clang, clang. Went the trolley. Ding dong, ding dong. Went the bell. Sing went my heartstring. The moment I saw him, I fell. Chug, chug went the motor. Bump, 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 bump went the brakes. Stop went my heartbeat when he smiled. I could feel the car shake.
Betty Carter and the Trolley Song, featuring pianist John Hicks, drummer Kenny Washington, and bassist Curtis Lundy.
Betty's music is about emotion. Her style, her phrasing, they come from life experiences. Understanding when you're up, understanding when you're down, understanding when you're caught in the middle. And to be able to bring that emotion into the music and make people feel that is very special. And to me, one of the reasons why she is so special.
Bang, 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 bang. I happened to pass your doorway, gave you a buzz, that's all. Lately I thought much about you, so I thought I'd pay a social call. Do you recall the old days? We used to have a ball. So now that I'm lonesome without you, I just thought I'd pay a social call. I'd lie and say things are just swell, but to tell the truth, I haven't been too well. So if you should try to kiss me, I promise I won't stall. 'Cause maybe we'll get back together, starting from this incidental, elemental, simple social call.
Social Call. Betty Carter with Khalid Moss on piano, Curtis Lundy on bass, and Louis Nash on drums. One of Betty's special trademarks is reinventing songs, molding them into her own unique musical image. And like all great singers, Betty has a distinct, recognizable voice. Some say that she sings and scats like a horn player might play.
What a little moonlight can do to you. What a little moonlight can do to you. Just will not utter the words. I love you. What a little moonlight can do. You get bold, you can't resist him. Lord, you say when you kissed him, is you.
I try to think for myself musically, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm trying to think like a horn, or anything like that, because I know the horn players don't like that. I mean, they may accept it, but they don't really want. You know, you take care of your thing and I'll take care of mine. You know, so and I realize that and respect that. So I really want musicians to really like what I have brought to the table, my thinking, my ideas, you know. And so all I'm trying to do at this point is to be Betty Carter.
Just will not utter the words I love you. Mama do my baby, mama do me. What that can do to you? Quite a while till the little moonbeam come peeping through. They get bold, you can't resist them, and all you'll say when you have kissed him is ooh. Oh, what the moon can do. Helen the moon, Lord, babe, little beat, ding, 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 ding. Bing, ding, bing, 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 oh, Lord, oh, babe. Bing, 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 ding. Well, the body's land of all day, and the band of loving. Wow, ding, 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 ding. Well, I'm a baby, I'm all like lonely. I don't find any, don't want me. Bed, 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 bed. Bed, 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 bed. Bing, ding, 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 ding. Down everybody, ding.
The way she scats is extremely original,
Drummer Louis Nash.
and the same sense of space and daring that she used in just her musical arrangement, she used that same kind of fearlessness in scatting, you know, going across the bar lines and making you think that she's in one place in the song and then catching up a few beats later to where the tune actually is. And her syllables were her own, so she didn't sound like anybody else. She doesn't sound like anybody else.
Betty Carter and What a Little Moonlight Can Do, with Khalid Moss, Curtis Lundy, and Louis Nash. I'm Nancy Wilson, and this is NPR's Jazz Profiles, with a tribute to singer Betty Carter.
From blues to bluegrass, jazz to country, R&B to rock and roll, we're moved by the proud sound of American music. Welcome to 32 Bar Blues, a fresh groove in the men's clothing world, a place where true originality, craft, and style are valued like the art forms we celebrate. Never curated or private labeled, we design and make the majority of our styles in-house. Cool clothes with enough funk or personality to make you smile, but easy to wear for most any venue. And like our name implies, 32 Bar Blues was born with a heart for the arts. Since our first collection in 2012, we featured more than 100 musicians, writers, and photographers on our pages, giving all profits from the sale of their work directly to them. We also promote a handful of nonprofit arts organizations that deserve extra support. To check out the 32 Bar Blues collection and learn more about our commitment to the arts, visit 32barblues.com.
The rich strains of gospel music regularly filled Betty Carter's Detroit childhood home. She came into the world on May 16, 1930, and her parents named her Lily Mae Jones. She was raised in a strict Baptist household.
My father was the conductor of the choir in his church, and I sang in the church, but I really wasn't a gospel singer like a lot of other singers I know in the church and like the singers are today. So I got all my musical inspiration from school, actually. We had a lot of music in the school that I went to, which was Northwestern High in Detroit.
Betty sang in her high school choir, where she quickly emerged as the group's student leader. She also studied piano and was exposed to Detroit's rich jazz community. During the 40s, Detroit was a hothouse of creativity for players like Hank Jones and Milt Jackson, who embraced the emerging new sound in jazz, bebop. Always an attentive listener, Betty Carter fell in love with bebop, and she soon began making a name for herself.
There was a theater, the equivalent of the Apollo Theater in Detroit, and I won the amateur show contest. That stimulated my ego. I was listening at that time to the music, of course, of Charlie Parker and Dizzy and Duke, and had some experiences coming in contact with these wonderful musicians, and that's what stimulated my interest in being in the business.
The sounds of bebop pioneer Charles Yardbird Parker in 1947. During the mid-40s, a teenaged Betty Carter got to hear and even sing with Bird, Dizzy Gillespie, and Miles Davis in Detroit's bustling nightclubs. While Betty's religious parents didn't encourage her growing involvement in jazz, she persevered.
My father died very early, 1946. My mother was left alone. I had a brother and a sister, and we had to go and fend for ourselves in a sense, so make our own way. And so that's really what encouraged me was the fact that I had to get out there and do something to take care of myself. So I did a couple of cabaret gigs around town on a Sunday afternoon. And in 1948, Lionel Hampton comes through town at a dance, and I happened to go and was encouraged to sing by the people standing around the bandstand. And Lionel Hampton at the time was looking for a singer, and I didn't realize that. He liked what he heard, and he sent for me, and I joined him in Toledo, Ohio.
The list of players that passed through Hampton's band is just amazing, from Clifford Brown and Wes Montgomery, on down, and Betty Carter.
Jazz writer Will Friedwald.
Just in the singers department, he had some of the most remarkable lineup of singers that you could imagine. He had Joe Williams and Dinah Washington at the same time. He had Jackie Paris, and he had Betty Carter, and he had any number of amazing singers. And, of course, the unfortunate thing is that almost none of them made a recording with the band. I think that Hampton's label, Decca, was really interested in these boogie-woogie and blues instrumentals and these kind of loud shouting numbers, and they really were not interested in pushing the Hampton band as a band that spotlighted vocalists. Carter fared better than most. She made a couple of sides with Hampton.
This is Benson Boogie, one of Betty Carter's earliest recordings with the Lionel Hampton Band of the late 1940s. During this period, Hampton gave Betty a new stage name.
I went into the band being, my name was Laureen Carter, and Hamp couldn't say that too quick. And he liked Betty Bebop better, it sounded better to him, and I was only improvising anyway. When he discovered I could improvise, that's all he had me do. And so I was more or less taking care of his bebop department, you might say. Hamp and I had friction only because I really wanted to sing. And he wasn't ready for me to sing. Maybe I couldn't sing at that time. Maybe he knew more about that than I did, Maybe he thought to himself that she can only improvise, so that's all I'm gonna let her do.
Hey, boys, not now. I'll tell you when. Now look out, Bob.
The friction between Betty Carter and Lionel Hampton led to her being fired on multiple occasions. But Hampton's wife, Gladys, always brought them back together.
Not enough has been said about Gladys Hampton's control. At that period, it was unheard of for a woman to be in charge like she was in charge. I mean, she ran the orchestra. She was the one who set up the tours. She was the one who made the contacts with the agencies. She was the one who made sure that everybody got paid. And so, in a sense, she was a role model, in the sense that I really didn't know that she was at that point, because I didn't know about role models at that point. And any time that happened, I got into it. She was always backing me up and making sure that I didn't leave the band too early. She wanted me to wait and get some more experience and then leave the band.
After a rocky 2.5-year stay, Betty left Lionel Hampton's band and moved to New York City. It was the early 50s. Betty entered this vibrant jazz mecca where she was determined to create her own sound, a sound distinct from established artists like Sarah Vaughan and Ella Fitzgerald.
Well, I made it a point not to do songs that made Sarah famous, made Ella Fitzgerald famous, made Nina Simone famous, because when you left the club or you left the theater and I had performed before you, my image, my sound is what I wanted on your mind when you left the theater. I didn't want to go to the theater and sing Sarah Vaughan's favorite song. It's very important in those days for a musician or a singer to become an individual. This is what was burnt into your brain. You had to be yourself.
Writer Will Friedwald.
Each of Betty Carter's albums from this period is a step in a certain direction, but you can hear Betty Carter being Betty Carter on Social Call from 1955. Particularly Moonlight in Vermont, where she shows what she could do with a ballad. It's really a really heartwarming performance. And for people that only think of her as this sort of hardcore jazz or bop singer, that Moonlight in Vermont really should be listened to.
Pennies in a stream, falling leaves of sycamore, in Vermont. I see finger waves, ski trails down the mountainside, snow light in Vermont. Telegraph cables, they sing down the highway and travel each bit in the road. People who meet in this romantic setting are so hypnotized by a lovely evening. Summer breeze.
I think the one thing that she does on a ballad more than, say, an up-tempo is to treat the words as words. I love that part. In the bridge to Moonlight in Vermont, she sings telegraph cables, how they sing down the highway. And the way she accentuates that word sing, it's just perfect. I mean, she puts a little bit of a twist on it, and she's playing with it, but at the same time, it supports the ballad mood. I mean, she shows that you can do these things. You can be frisky and you can be fun and not destroy the mood.
Telegraph cables, they sing down the highway and travel each bit in the road. People who meet in this romantic setting are so hypnotized by a lovely evening. Summer breeze warbling over meadowlark, moonlight in Vermont.
Betty Carter's Moonlight in Vermont from 1955.
I can't help it.
Betty Carter also created her own musical identity by composing and arranging her own songs. One of her early compositions is I Can't Help It, recorded in 1958.
I try to do the things I feel inside, and believe me, that's the real delight.
I don't think that Betty Carter writes a piece of music just to write a piece of music. She writes a piece of music because it means something to her.
Bassist Curtis Lundy.
And in my association with her over the years, every piece of music that I've played with her was not only refreshing to play, but also taught me something about the theater of music, how to tell a story and how to interest people in what you're trying to do.
Open the door, dear. I must get in your heart. You're making it hard to be true. So please come open the door.
Another Betty Carter composition, Open the Door, was written in the mid-60s about her relationship with her husband.
Singer-songwriters are fairly rare in jazz.
Writer Will Friedwald.
Which is unusual because just about any great jazz musician has written memorable tunes, but somehow Ella Fitzgerald and Sarah Vaughan and most of the really big singers haven't. There are exceptions. Billie Holiday wrote some of her best songs, and today I think it's significant that I think the two most important singers working today, who I would have to say are Betty Carter and Abbey Lincoln, both of them are really quite advanced as composers, and I think that the composing aspect is probably just as important as the singing aspect.
Darling, come close, let's talk. Wrap your arms around me like you used to do. Lately, you've been so quiet. Let me fix your dinner. What do you wanna say? Yes, I recognize I've changed in you. I've been your lover all these years. Sure, I'm getting older. In your eyes, I can see a new world. A world that doesn't include me. No, I won't let go without a fight. I know she's young and beautiful, but do you really love her? So darling, think it over. I'll respect what you decide, but don't go. Don't go. Maybe we can save it. After all, my darling, 30 years is a long time. 30 years.
30 Years, written by Betty Carter, and it's one of her favorite tunes. Mark Carey is on piano, Taurus Mateen on bass, and Gregory Hutchinson is on drums. I'm Nancy Wilson, and this is NPR's Jazz Profiles, with a tribute to singer Betty Carter.
Born from the 32 Bar Blues clothing brand, the nonprofit 32 Bar Blues Foundation was established in 2020 to promote American music, literature, photography, and the artists that create within these genres. Jazz, blues, and roots music are of particular focus, all uniquely American art forms that should be nurtured and advanced for the benefit of future generations. Toward these goals, 32 Bar Blues Foundation seeks out and partners with nonprofit arts organizations that provide education, training, opportunity, support, and exposure. Young and emerging artists, as well as established and lesser-known greats, are of equal focus. Through direct 32 Bar Blues corporate support and donations, customer donations, and all profits received from special clothing items and other partner products in the 32 Bar Blues collection, seasonal contributions go directly to the artists and organizations noted in the Arts section of the 32 Bar Blues website. To date, 32 Bar Blues Foundation has contributed more than $200,000 to its nonprofit partners and provided millions of full-page impressions in the 32 Bar Blues catalog. For more information about 32 Bar Blues and its foundation, visit 32barblues.com and click The Arts, or go to 32barbluesfoundation.org.
During the early 60s, Betty married, became a mother of 2 sons, and continued blazing down her own musical path. She also toured with a singer who had become a major star after his version of Georgia on My Mind took the country by storm. That's right, I'm talking about Ray Charles. Much to her amazement, Ray asked a young and still fairly unknown Betty Carter to record with him in 1961.
I really can't stay.
Betty, it's cold outside.
I've got to go away.
Betty, it's cold out there.
This evening has
been hoping that you drop in.
so very nice.
I'll hold your hand. They're just like
My
ice.
mother will start to worry,
Beautiful, what's your hurry?
and father will be pacing the
Listen
floor.
to that fireplace.
So really I'd better scurry.
Beautiful, please don't hurry.
Maybe just a half
Why
a
don't
drink.
you put some records on while I pour?
She probably would not agree, but one of my favorite albums is the thing that she did with Ray Charles. That's still one of my favorites.
Pianist John Hicks.
It's past the notes. I mean, it's not about that. It's about what comes from your heart and how it touches you, you know. And that's the same thing I think about the Ray Charles Betty Carter collaboration.
Was it a big successful record? Sure it was. But it wasn't a success for me, it was a success for him. What it did, it kept my name out there a little bit. When people heard the name Betty Carter, they just couldn't put it together. Where did they hear that name? How come they heard that name? You know, because it was more about him than it was about me. But there were a few people who remembered when they hear the name Betty Carter, oh, that's the girl who sang with Ray Charles. That's what it did for me.
As the 60s progressed, Betty struggled to survive. She bumped heads with her managers as well as record company executives who couldn't deal with a singer who was charting her own course. She was viewed as troublesome and record dates dried up. So, true to her nature, Betty Carter struck out on her own, forming her own record label in 1969, Betcar Productions.
If you can't get it done, you do it yourself. There was not a record company out there that was going to record me. So I knew I could work. I had no problem working, but I also wanted to record. So you do it yourself.
By the bend in the river, the rushes are growing, the waters are flowing, far down to the sea, and I saw falling in the shimmering moonlight, and that found true love was waiting for me in the cool of the evening.
This 1970 recording comes from Betty Carter's first release under the Betcar label. Betty personally distributed her records to stores through the mail. She was able to hold her own and pay the bills. No easy task for an artist who defied convention. Yet Betty Carter continued to take chances. During the early 70s, Betty hired and was inspired by younger musicians.
I didn't set out and say, well, I'm going to work with younger musicians. I just happened to be with 3 young guys. You know, they were maybe 15 years younger than I was at the time. And the energy that they provided me at that time, I really liked. There was some fire there that I thought I could use. I mean, when you're around some young people, they like to have fun. And they come up with some very, very, very risky little things, you know, and they put a smile on your face. And that's what I want. That's what I need.
I don't know where my man is now. I've been looking and looking and looking. What can it be? What is he doing? I've been searching and searching and searching. I've been all over town looking, hoping that he can be found. I'm on the loose and I don't dig it. No. Take my advice. If you find a man, girl, or a sister, hold on to your man. Tight, don't let him, don't let him, don't let him, don't let him. Hold on to him tight. Don't let him, hold on to him tight. Don't let him, don't let him, don't let him, don't let him, hold on to him tight. Don't let him go, don't let him go, don't let him go, don't let him go, hold on to him tight.
Danny Mixon piano, Buster Williams bass, and Chip Lyles drums, with Betty Carter's fiery composition, Tight. Just ahead, Betty Carter commands respect as a demanding yet inspiring bandleader and mentor. I'm Nancy Wilson, and this is Jazz Profiles, with a salute to singer Betty Carter from NPR, National Public Radio.
Sounds of life I heard everywhere. Sounds of life and love and despair. Big noise, small beat, big sounds keep on moving on. You gotta keep moving on. So make your choice, and you do your thing. You will find that your grass, it will turn green. Believe in him. Get that kitchen going straight. You gotta be on the case. You gotta stay on the move. Let it roll.
From blues to bluegrass, jazz to country, R&B to rock and roll, we're moved by the proud sound of American music. Welcome to 32 Bar Blues, a fresh groove in the men's clothing world, a place where true originality, craft, and style are valued like the art forms we celebrate. Never curated or private labeled, we design and make the majority of our styles in-house. Cool clothes with enough funk or personality to make you smile, but easy to wear for most any venue. And like our name implies, 32 Bar Blues was born with a heart for the arts. Since our first collection in 2012, We featured more than 100 musicians, writers, and photographers on our pages, giving all profits from the sale of their work directly to them. We also promote a handful of nonprofit arts organizations that deserve extra support. To check out the 32 Bar Blues collection and learn more about our commitment to the arts, visit 32barblues.com.
The young jazz lions who Betty hired during the 70s may well have been the first enrollees in what's been dubbed the University of Betty Carter, an on-the-job training institution for some of the best and brightest young musicians. Graduates include pianists Cyrus Chestnut and Benny Green, bassists Chris Thomas and Michael Bowie, and drummers Louis Nash and Clarence Penn, just to name a few. Carter eagerly searched for new talent, like a young bassist named Curtis Lundy, who auditioned for Betty in the late 70s.
And Betty greeted me in a very warm way, to not make me feel on the edge or to not make me feel nervous, but to let me know, step to your business, so to speak. So she liked my sound, and I was elated to be, first of all, playing with her, but to also be playing with such good musicians as John Hicks and Kenny Washington.
Curtis Lundy, John Hicks, and Kenny Washington formed the Betty Carter Trio that recorded a classic set of live performances in 1979. The concerts became the Bet Carr album, The Audience with Betty Carter, and Betty's composition, Sounds, Moving On, was the album's swinging 25-minute tour de force. Sounds is a perfect example of how Betty Carter and her musicians reinvent and transform the music. Pianist John Hicks.
That tune is an example of an evolution of a composition. I mean, it started off, it was basically a straight-ahead 4/4 tune. And during the course of rehearsal, we probably would, kind of review some of the things that we've done on the gigs. And she would have ideas. She says, well, what about this? Maybe we can throw a little 3/4 in there. Okay, so we do that. And that happens on the gig. And then we go from there. And he says, well, what about a little 5/4? Okay. Maybe a little 7/4. All right. And before you know it, the composition that you heard on the recording was probably the result of all these little ideas coming together at one time.
Switching tempos and things like that. Well, that was my whole purpose of doing the tune, was to do something spectacular like that, different, And to me, it's one of the best improvising things I've ever done. It sounds.
As a testament to its strength, The Audience with Betty Carter became the first independently produced jazz album to receive a Grammy nomination. The Audience not only demonstrated Betty Carter's ability to connect with listeners, but also to get the best from her band members. She developed a reputation for being an inspiring and demanding taskmaster. Bassist Curtis Lundy.
She makes statements like, I can tell when you've been practicing. And when I first joined the band, the next day after the gig or something, she saw me hanging out or something, and she pulled me to the side and said, "Listen, man, you need to practice all your waking hours." I never forget that. And, she made me mad. But that's one of her ways of getting you to do what she wants you to do. She'll just make you so mad at her that you want to just I want to show her, that kind of thing. Kind of some reverse psychology, But it works.
She demands excellence. Whatever you do, you had better do it like you mean it.
Pianist Cyrus Chestnut found this out during the early 80s while he was a college student. During a master class, Chestnut was called to accompany Betty on Body and Soul.
And like Zorro would put a Z in someone's back when he would finish whatever, she says the words to me in G, and that G went through me like a knife. I was never really up on transposition at the time. I knew Body and Soul in one key. And that was one of the first of many lessons that Betty taught me. If you're going to be a good accompanist, you have to be able to adjust.
It's all in the way you touch him to make him believe that the love in your heart for him, he will never regret. All he need do is trust you. Is all in a way you kiss him to make him believe that his lips are so sweet, and your love for him is true. You make his nights so precious, and fulfill all his needs. He'll think he's dreaming, eyes closed and long soft sighs. He'll feel his heart beating faster and faster, seemingly out of control. He'll look at you with his newfound emotions,
pianist Cyrus Chestnut, bassist Ariel Rowland, and drummer Clarence Penn, accompanying Betty Carter on Make Him Believe. Betty Carter is a master balladeer, one who enjoys the challenges of slow tempos. Drummer Lewis Nash and pianist John Hicks.
Kenny Washington used to say that her tempos are the type of tempos you can go out and get a sandwich between beats and come back.
I used to love working with her in that aspect because of the fact that gave me a real sense of what the melody was about and where it was being placed, even though she would be quite a ways behind us sometime. We always managed to come together at a certain point, and it was quite an enlightening kind of thing as far as dealing with time, because your sense of time has to be really impeccable to be able to phrase that way, and to sing at a tempo that's really slow.
But whether she's performing the slowest ballad or scatting through a song at breakneck speed, Betty loves to search for new musical horizons. During the 1980s, she produced a Grammy Award-winning album, Look What I Got, and she collaborated with fellow vocalist Carmen McRae.
How is the world treating you? You haven't changed a bit. You're singing good.
Tell me,
I must admit.
what's new? How did that romance come through?
Well,
we haven't met since then.
yeah, I know.
Gee, it's a groove to see you again.
What's new? Probably I'm boring.
No, 'cause seeing you is grand and you were great to offer your hand. You know I understand.
I do. Excuse me for asking what's new.
Of course, you could know, but I haven't changed. I still dig yourself. Yeah.
Betty Carter and Carmen McRae with What's New, recorded live in San Francisco in 1987.
Now here's Carmen, who is very outspoken, and she's very witty and very funny, and so therefore a lot of funny things happen. So it was quite an experience. It really was. And with her ears and my ears, we had a lot of respect for each other.
And that sense of mutual respect is also evident in Betty's mentoring relationships with younger artists. Since the early 1990s, Betty Carter has spearheaded an annual week-long writing and performance workshop for budding young musicians from around the country. She calls her workshop Jazz Ahead.
We have 4 days of rehearsal where the musicians have to play only their music. I stress that they have to bring me in their works. Then we perform for 2 days. And it's about fun. It's not about really getting serious. I'm not dictating to them. All I want them to do is to think, use their heads and think and be creative.
Throughout her career, Betty Carter has influenced both instrumentalists and singers. And in September 1997, President Bill Clinton honored Betty Carter by presenting her with one of the country's most prestigious awards, the National Medal of Arts. Writer Will Friedwald.
Betty Carter is just about the best thing that's been happening to jazz in the last few decades, just because there's no one that's as explosively entertaining as her. And she really kind of opened the door for a lot of individuality. I mean, I think that singers are freer to kind of be themselves after hearing Betty Carter, because she is so obviously an individualist that I think she sort of gave a kind of approval to other singers who want to go out and do interesting kinds of things.
Drummer Lewis Nash and bassist Curtis Lundy.
Thank you, Betty. You're always an inspiration to me, and I wish you all the best with everything that you do. And just thank you, thank you, thank you.
Betty Carter is one of my favorite people. I love her, and I care about what she means to this music. And I will always be someone who will carry her name in high esteem because she is a legend to me.
For me, listening to Betty Carter as a young woman was one of the most inspiring things I'd ever heard. I loved her By the Bend of the River. I love to hear the way she bends the notes and the way she puts the words together. She always influenced me, and she's absolutely magnificent.
East of the sun and west of the moon, we'll build a dream house I've left here, near to the sun in the day, near to the moon at night. We'll live a lovely life here, living up there the moonlight, just you and I forever and a day. Our love will not die, we'll keep it that way. Up among the stars, a shine, a harmony of love in a lovely tune. East of the sun and west of the moon, yeah. East of the sun, west of the moon.
Betty Carter is a rare musical gem. She remains an influential mentor and teacher. She's an inventive composer and arranger, and first and foremost, she's a one-of-a-kind song stylist who's in a constant state of renewal.
I still want to be fresh, trying to continue to be fresh. That's the hard part in this business now, but that's what I would like to do, to be fresh, continue to be fresh, and keep this music alive, because don't forget, this is our culture.
Up among the stars, a harmony of love in a lovely tune, east of the sun and west of the moon.
Our tribute to Betty Carter was written and produced by Sonja Williams. Post-production engineer, Stacy Abbott. We'd like to send a special thanks to Ora Harris, John Petuis, and WDET-FM, the Institute of Jazz Studies at Rutgers University, and NPR's New York and Los Angeles bureaus. Jazz Profiles is produced by Tim Owens. Assistant producer, Madeline Smith.